There is another person in isolation today as health officials try to figure out how a nurse contracted Ebola. That nurse, 26-year-old Nina Pham, was part of the team treating Thomas Eric Duncan, the first patient to have Ebola here in the U.S. We know that the other person in isolation works for Fort Worth company Alcon. We have team coverage on this morning. Elizabeth Din has more on the new patient in isolation. We start with Arzo Dost at Texas Health Presbyterian. Arzo.
Jason, this morning, Nancy Pham remains here in isolation. She's been able to Skype with her family, and her father tells us that she's asking for prayers as she fights Ebola. And we also know that the one person the CDC confirmed came in close contact with her after symptoms surfaced is under observation here at the hospital as well. But that's not the only person the CDC is monitoring right now. Investigators are keeping a watch on approximately 70 other healthcare workers. They all had some contact with the first Dallas Ebola patient, Thomas Duncan, who died last week. We've learned they were either drawing blood, putting tubes down Duncan's throat, or wiping saliva from his lips. Now, the CDC says Pham might have been exposed while removing her protective gear, but her family says she's in good spirits and showing no signs of getting worse. Now, Fort Worth Dr. Ken Brantley, who survived Ebola, just donated his own plasma for the nurse's recovery. Experts hope the antibodies in Brantley's blood will kickstart Pham's immune response to the virus. That's the latest here at Presbyterian Dallas. We now continue our team coverage with our Elizabeth Din. She's in the nurse's neighborhood. And Elizabeth, at this point, what are you learning about this new patient here in isolation?
Arzo, we've learned it is a man, and we know that he works for Alcon. Alcon, a company that specializes in vision care products over in Fort Worth. And initially, health officials had told us that Nina Pham had been in close contact with just one person after we learned that she had symptoms that were developing Friday night as she continued to self-monitor while she was here at her apartment here in Lower Greenville. Now, this morning, CBS 11 News obtained the letter sent to Alcon employees. The message was sent to workers yesterday via email. Alcon alerted staff, making them aware one employee is under isolation at Texas Health Presbyterian Hospital. According to this letter, the Alcon employee was admitted Sunday, but isn't showing any symptoms of having Ebola. The company did not explain how this employee is connected to Pham, and the company says it has no reason to believe other staff members were exposed. Back out here live at Nina Pham's apartment in Lower Greenville, no signs of the state contracted hazmat crews we saw here 24 hours ago compared to yesterday. All things quiet out here. Live in Dallas, Elizabeth Din, CBS 11 News.
There will be a prayer service tonight for Nina Pham. It's scheduled to happen outside the TCU chapel at 7 p.m. Pham is a 2010 graduate of TCU. Dallas County Medical Society is having a Twitter town hall this afternoon to answer any questions about Ebola. That's happening today at 4:30 on Twitter. All you have to do is use the hashtag AskDCMS for them to see your questions. New this morning, out of an abundance of caution, hazmat crews went to an assisted living facility. This is after a worker showed up for her shift with a 100-degree-plus fever. During a screening with 911, first responders determined that the patient had had contact with someone who recently came from Nigeria. That person is not showing any symptoms of Ebola. The patient did go to a local hospital, but the red caution tape remains up there at that assisted living facility. Residents in the area say that the response, it was reassuring to see how quickly that happened. New this morning, the World Health Organization said that the death rate for Ebola has increased. It has moved from 50 to 70%, and by December, the organization believes there could be up to 10,000 new cases every week. CBS 11 is your station for complete coverage of the Ebola outbreak there, as well as here in North Texas. We'll bring you updates as we get them on air and online.